Good evening. My name is Lillian Muli, and on Citizen Weekend tonight, we are discussing men in the delivery room. Now, opinion is sharply divided on whether men should venture into the delivery room, and we've been asking you men, our male viewers, whether you would want to be in the delivery room when your partner is giving birth. And to the women as well, we're also asking you, would you want your man, the father of your child, of your unborn child, in the delivery room when you're just about to give birth, when you're in labor? And we've been getting mixed reactions on this. We're going to be talking to our male panel in studio. It's a man cave. I'm the only lady here tonight. And we wanted to hear the experiences of different dads. Will be also sampling what a cross-section of Kenyans had to say regarding this issue. With me in studio this evening is Robert Burale, the coach. Thank you very much for being with us, Bob. And we're also joined by Mwaniki Mageria, who is the Secretary General, Riverwood. He's also a TV personality. Thanks for joining us, Mwaniki. And of course, with us as well this evening is DJ Moz, founder Kubamba. Thanks for being with us, DJ Moz. So let's listen into what Kenyans have to say about men in the delivery room. Our roving reporter was out today, that's Whitney, and let's listen into what she heard on the streets of Nairobi.
I can't withstand the pain, the screams when she's giving birth, so I can't withstand.
I've not seen any problem being there because it's a sign of love, sign of support, and a sign of togetherness.
Uchungu ambayo iko pale na maumivu ambayo iko pale, na vile madaktari wanashughulikia wamama kwa upole pole sana kwa njia ya kujivuta, hawachukulie mgonjwa kwa haraka wala hawamshughulikie kwa njia ambayo inastahili. Nimekuwa pale na mama akienda kujifungua pale IDH, mtoto akafariki pale kwa sababu ile slow ya madaktari. Mtoto akipatikana bala wachukulie mtoto kwa haraka sana waweza kumshughulikia, wanajivuta kupeleka mtoto pale oxygen ikawa masaa imeisha, mtoto pumzi zinaenda na akazimia na akaenda hivyo. So mambo ya labor kama mimi siwezi tamani kuingia pale, maana ni uchungu mkubwa sana.
Ni mzuri kuona my husband akinikuta kwa delivery room because it's a respect. Hata after delivery atakuwa kiniona tu, atanipatia heshima itakuwa because of the process someone goes through.
Nipo tu anione ndio na uchungu wenye napitia. Hata mtu akikutesa anaona tu uchungu wenye ulipitia. Mtu anakupenda, anapenda mtoto wako juu ya kuona uchungu yote yenye unapitia.
Pia yeye akiwa hapo ataona what I'm going through, the kind of as in struggle yenye nime go through. Love pia ina attachment ya mtoi na baba yake pia itakuwa.
I would be more comfortable just struggling alone and going through the pain alone.
We need them there. We need that support from them, and we feel the love when they're actually there when we're delivering.
When I'm giving birth, my husband should be there to see the pain I'm going through.
So encouraging, at least he gets to see what women go through, and then he'll be able to make a choice whether he's ready for another chance or a second born.
It's not for African culture, it's for maybe the Americans, because I think in our culture it's not allowed. Yes.
Okay, so mixed reactions there, and particularly from the ladies. Some are demanding that the man must be there, and that other lady there that spoke last saying that it's not African, that for her, she's not too comfortable with that. Guys, let me start with you, Robert. Share with us your experience. You're a dad. Were you in the delivery room? Did you opt out?
I went into the delivery room. I don't regret it. But I must add there are pros and cons. The connection, being among the first people to see your seed come forth is quite it's something you cannot buy. You can't even, it can't be a movie, to be honest with you, because it's something that makes you have an instant connection with your child. But having said that, I also went through some trauma because I took the position with the doctor. So I wasn't on the side, I wasn't on the head, I was just right there. and what men need to understand, as good as it is, you're not going to go in for strawberry and grapes. Other things come out later that may leave a lasting stress, and it takes quite a few months to get over it, and men should understand it is a good thing. I went there, and every man should go there, because I don't think, Lillian, a man should enjoy the screams when they're making babies, but not the screams
when the babies come.
Yeah.
That's assuming there's any screams at all. Mwaniki, your experience?
I have 3 children, and I have been there for all 3. And it's been a very good experience, actually. Actually, let me start from the first child. The first child came a little early. So I was very stressed because we were in the labor ward for 24 hours before there was any movement. The waters had broken. The doctors were not sure, why the baby is not coming out. So for 24 hours we were waiting there, and I was very, very stressed. My wife was calm. Then the following day now, when the baby they said now they're going to induce her, I was calm and she was she was stressed. So we helped one another. I supported her, and we were there for a good 36 hours before the baby came. And I think being there is such a wonderful experience, because I held my wife's hand, and I was encouraging her, and she did a very good job. And first push and the baby was out. So,
so you're saying being there is a very good experience, and yet this is your first time coming face to face with such an experience. Yes. So what were you feeling at some point? Was it too much for you? 24 hours later?
The thing is, I think it depends a lot on the relationship you have with your wife. We share everything. Even when she was going to see the gyna, we would go together, and we would get told what to expect. And I even told the doctor, by the way, I'm going into the delivery room. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. I'm paying the bill. I'm going in. So so that was the agreement, and I really do not regret at all going to the delivery room. It's a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, DJ Moz, for you, these guys are being very brave about this, but we've had guys out there on the streets of Nairobi saying absolutely not for them.
Well, let me say, for me, like Mwaniki, it wasn't an option, I'd helped create this baby, I'd walked through the process, there's a website we used to visit, I think it's called Baby Center, that shows you how the baby is developing in your wife's womb. And so I'd gone through this whole process, Lillian. I'd seen the baby, from being like a kandengu like this, being like a bean, like a watermelon, whatever that size is, they show you how the baby's progressing. So I was really looking forward to that moment. But I remember, so my wife's water broke at 3 o'clock in the morning. We had gone for a gig, so at 3 o'clock in the morning, she's like, babe, I think my waters have broken, so came back to the hospital, and it took a long time, the baby took 17 hours to come. This was our first baby, Zara. And let me tell you, being in that space was not easy, because the women who was next to her in the labor ward, you're hearing their screams, and you're like, what the heck? I'd gone for this thing called Lamaze classes, where they tell you about how to breathe. Yes. Those things go out. They don't apply.
It doesn't prepare you enough.
It doesn't prepare you enough, Because, I think I snoozed in some of these classes, Bana, because what my wife was going through, I couldn't tell her to breathe like this, because, it doesn't apply. The pain that she's going through was quite intense, And when we went to the delivery room, when the doctor came and said, okay, now it's this is the time, So we went to the delivery room, And this being our first baby, it was difficult for my wife, because now she's there, they're telling her push. I want to tell her to push, but I can see the more I tell her that, she's getting stressed. And I remember one time the doctor came in and said, hey, what are you doing with my patient now? When the pediatrician comes and says, what are you doing to my patient? She's talking about the baby who's coming, because now it had taken a while for Zara to come, and I got stressed out at that point. I was like, Lord, it can't happen, Yani. That we've gone through this whole time, Alafu Mazi, 36, because she came early, it was 36 weeks. I'm like, at 36 weeks, we didn't even know if it was a boy or a girl, because us guys didn't find out, the baby has to come. At that point, I almost lost it, But, praise the Lord, I was there. And Zara came out, and I was happy. We got a beautiful baby girl, and she was healthy. More than anything.
And Robert here speaks about the position that he was at, that he was right at the front. So he was really seeing everything that was happening, whatever it is that was going on there. He was face to face with it. What about you? Was it the same? Because there's doctors who advise that the father of the baby stands at the back.
Yeah. I was on the side. You know, right next to my wife. Of course, I could see what was happening, you know, but I think for me it was more important, you know, to stand by her side. Man, she squeezed my hand, man. I thought, damn it, as mama.
Oh, you had that. I didn't get that. Jackie did not squeeze my hand.
Where were you positioned?
I was right next to her, But I was providing commentary, telling her, oh, I can see the head.
and you know, the reason why I'm asking that is because some men say being there ruined their sex life, saying they fear making the same mistake again because they don't want to land their partner in this same situation where there's a lot of screaming, tearing, what have you. In terms of sex life, and I know this can get a little bit intrusive, so you're comfortable to respond to it or not. Right. In terms of sex life and what it is that you came face to face with, how did that affect you as a spouse or as a partner?
Yeah, it does, to be honest with you. But at least you have the 6 weeks layoff. So in those 6 weeks, you better start getting into terms with everything. But it will take you after the 6 weeks, maybe another 6 weeks. I mean, let's just be very honest, because we are very visual beings, you understand? But I think what helps is the fact that when you see your spouse giving birth to your child, you up your level of respect for anything called a woman that has given birth. Because you know, as men, you enjoy when you're making the baby. And as you are depositing the seed, you are never frowning, you are smiling, whatever. Okay, some are frowning. But having said that, when you see what the lady has gone through, because they say childbearing is as if you are dislocating the elbow from the hand, you know, and you respect them more. So it helps you in healing because you're like, this is somebody who brought forth my seed, so we need to come together again.
Okay, and let's take a look at what you're saying on social media as we continue with our conversation, and this is the feedback we're getting. So Dorcas, you're saying, I won't even dream of him being with me in the delivery room. It's for his own good because the things that he will see can't be unseen and may not go well with him later. So this is Dorcas protecting her man, quote unquote. A true definition of an African man is to keep off. Mwanaume ni kujipa shughuli. That's Mark. Wilson Gitau. I was in the delivery room to give support to my girlfriend by holding her hands. Help reminding her to breathe, and of course that goes on. The baby, okay, so yeah, so that's the feedback that we're getting. Okay, so you guys were in the delivery room. Moniki, for you, you have 3 children.
Yes.
How did this first experience shape you as a dad in terms of anticipating now the delivery of your other child? Did you go in bolder? Were you totally freaked out about having to go through that again?
I've never been freaked out about going into the delivery room. For us, it went without saying that as we walked down the aisle, and we got joined together. This is a lady that I have decided I'm going to spend my life with. We're building a family together. We're doing things together. Making babies is part of that, including the point of delivery. And I remember it's a spiritual moment, by the way. It's extremely spiritual. You feel that connection as the baby is. You hold your baby right there. I've just come out of the womb. It is such a spiritual moment, and you realize fatherhood and the respect you have, not only for the mother, but also for this new person that has come into the world. Because even the child has struggles to get out. They all work, they work hard to get out. So newfound respect for your wife, and you are now more bonded. You're more one than before. So with second time round, there was no problem.
Sex life for you? Did it improve your intimate life with you?
I would not even talk about the sex life. I'll talk about the intimacy. It improved our intimacy.
Okay, because intimacy is not just sex.
Yeah, exactly. You have newfound respect and honor for this woman who's gone through so much to be able to deliver your child. I must say something about the last child. When the last one came, we were discussing with the doctor the gynecologist what we do for the next one. And my wife held my hand. Now this is when my wife held my hand. She held my hand and squeezed very hard. And my wife doesn't shout. She cannot raise her voice.
Yeah.
But the last room of the hospital had her voice, and she said, "I am not coming back here again."
Yeah.
And with that she pushed and the baby came out.
Yeah.
Because she had pushed quite a, the last one was took a little longer to come. But so that's the kind of fun we were having in that room, but she was not having so much fun. You get what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
And Moz, for you, you talked about you know, that last minute fear, that trauma when the doctor came in and said that the delivery of the baby was taking a little bit too long. So this experience, you know, that case of nerves at that point, going forward, your other babies, your other children, as they were being born, did this traumatize you? Were you now, you know, a total case of nerves based on that first experience?
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, you know, because of what I'd experienced the first time, I was scared, you know, because of like, Lord, we can't go through what we went through the last time, you know. And of course, you hear about these cases where, you know, and you heard the guy who was there earlier in the streets talking about how this lady lost her baby when she was waiting for the baby to be delivered, you know. That reality was there with me, you know, but it made me pray even harder. And but let me say, you know, the midwives, you know, they did an amazing job in terms of supporting you and reassuring you that don't worry, you know, everything will be okay. And the second one, I'm sure my wife will kill me for saying this, it wasn't as hard as the first one, the Zara, you know. And I'm sorry, babe. You know.
Yeah.
And the third one, Baraka. Man, I remember we got to the hospital at around midnight. You know, and I was filling the forms. You know, ready to go and get her admitted to the hospital. And as I was about to walk out to collect the documents to the registration officer, I was told you need to go to the delivery room. And in like 10 minutes, the baby had popped out.
That's so interesting. Boys are like that,
like, Danny, this guy just came and pop, you know.
So every experience is different.
It was different, yeah.
Yeah, but for the guys who opt out, because I'm sure you guys talk to your boys, and some of them are not as brave as you guys are, or as loving by choice. There's some who opt, for those who, you know, like to have a drink, there's some who opt to be out in the pubs, there's some who opt to take a convenient trip out of town. There's some who just want to be in the waiting bay, you know, and have baby brought to them nice and cleaned up. So what do guys say? What's behind that fear?
That's a good, some guys just cannot handle it. I have a cousin who really wanted to be there, but as soon as the waters broke and there was all this action, he found himself on the floor. He fainted. And he's a big guy, he's taller than me. So he said, let me go. So he went off. I think it's very different from each person. It's good to know your wife's love language. I know my wife likes quality time and doing things together. So for me, there was no question. For other guys, if someone does not have the stomach for blood or for that, the tension, because there's a lot of tension in that room. And for me, I make things lighter. I try to take attention and make it lighter. But some people, when the tension is too much now, they get even more tense. I think different strokes for different folks. I mean, someone talked about tradition. I'm not sure about tradition, because when you're getting married and you come together as husband and wife, you create your own culture within your family. So you decide what your culture in your family is going to be, and not impose it on somebody else or whatever.
For those guys who opt out, what does this also speak about, and what does this say about the relationship they have with this lady? Of course, there's those who just have a phobia, like Monique is saying, for blood and what have you. But then there are people who, even during the pregnancy, are absent. Therefore, the opting out, of course, and for women, I mean, we're not demanding that, and not me per se, but our viewers are not demanding that the man must be there. But then again, what does this say about your relationship? The fact that, number one, you've not been present as the woman goes through this pregnancy journey, and then come the day of delivery, you're nowhere to be seen.
I think it's quite a shame.
And are asking the people who are there for updates.
Right, I think it's quite a shame that you actively participate in baby making, and then you are deliberately absent during the process. For me, that sends a wrong signal. It sends a signal of an irresponsible person, because go to the clinic with her, go to the Lamaze classes with her, because you're a partner. You came in together. And it's even worse for the people who decide to conveniently go out of town when their wives or their partners are going to deliver, because that is copping out. You understand? I've seen people, professional footballers, during the World Cup, who, when the EDD is there, they fly back to their country to be there. Because one thing, and it has worked for me, I think the fact that I held my baby within minutes of her coming to the world, 12 years later, there is a bond that cannot be broken. So, and for the woman, it's okay because it sends a very...
Okay, but then there are men who say the bond is the same, even for those who are not there, or for those whose partners have CSs, either
fine, the bond could be this,
or by emergency, that the bond is always there.
It may well be the same with the children because it's blood, but I just feel it is right to be there by your spouse. Let's put the child aside. You understand what I'm saying? Because we know what these ladies go through. Some even eat stones. I don't know, what are those things called? And you're in the line and all that. You understand what I'm saying? Just be there for moral support. And it actually makes it better.
Actually, no, that's arguable, because the leading obstetrician Michael Odent says a man's presence in the delivery room is a hindrance and a significant factor why labors are longer and more painful. So
is that scientifically proven?
Well, that is the view of an obstetrician.
Every time you see them saying a leading, they're trying to justify their wrong assertions.
Okay, so let's take feedback once again as I get your final thoughts on this topic. And somebody here is saying, I was in the delivery room when my daughter was born, helped the doctor get her out, followed the nurses everywhere, and it's bonded father and daughter. Okay, that's okay.
Yes.
Also, you know him, Waniki.
Yeah,
okay, so Nelson is saying, yes, I would love to be there, specifically being a nurse by profession. I could really want to assist during the whole process. So, yeah, we're seeing gentlemen here. Ashley, my husband hasn't touched me since birth.
No.
First, he said he was waiting for me to heal. Then he said he's sick. Now we live as siblings.
Oh dear, that's a disaster, man.
That's a guy who's been affected by just the trauma of what maybe he experienced in the delivery room.
Yeah, and Douglas saying it's not a good experience, but because I was part of it, I must appear in the delivery room to show her I am ready to take responsibility.
Actually, let me...
And finally, I went in a ward with my first wife, okay, and I lost interest in her completely. We ended up divorced.
Oh no.
Wow.
Mali Jambo. Okay, so Mali Jambo, and you know, these are valid concerns.
And he's an engineer.
Yeah. I mean, he says for him that killed the relationship completely more. So.
You know, I was going to say, first, let me talk about it from my perspective, yeah? Being there in the delivery room for the birth of all 3 kids, you know, it helped me first appreciate what you guys go through, Lillian. You know, and it made me respect my wife more, love her more. I was like, in fact, I need to cut my wife some slack, you know, because of just the drama and the pressure of what she went through. I mean, through the 9 months, and especially now these last moments of her getting to the space of delivery. Then at the same time, you've got to say, this is one of the places where I got to experience God's creation in like a whole different scope. Because I'm like, by the time this baby is getting ready to be born, I mean, the crazy activity that's happening in there for the baby and the mother, and for the baby to be born, I was like, this is nothing but God over here. But let me also say that for guys, you know, even though you might experience some trauma when you see your wife giving birth, and you know, you might look at her and be like, you know, it can't be the same. I can't believe this head just popped out of my wife's, you know. It doesn't remain like that, you know.
So this is more psychological for the man.
It's more psychological for the man, you know, and I think it's very unfortunate, you know, that he would do that to his wife or to his girlfriend, you know, because you know, that's when she really needs the jama by her side.
But don't you think it's an excuse?
It's an excuse.
It's an excuse.
Do you know, when you go into the river and you're getting circumcised, you don't fade from your blood, because there's blood there. Yeah? I mean, I was awake.
Absolutely.
So now, how come
you cannot compare the two?
I'm not comparing it. What I'm trying to say is that if you're traumatized by your own situation, then maybe you have a problem you don't need to go to when your wife is whatever. But it's an excuse to say that when I saw that, that is when I decided that I'm not going to love this woman anymore.
Yeah, but for the fathers, once again, that opt to be absent throughout the pregnancy journey, for whatever reason, maybe they were not ready for the pregnancy, maybe they just can't come around to the fact that they're good. I don't know. For pregnancy can be a lonely journey for a lot of women. So if you are not there, if you are not connecting with this child right from the beginning, will you really be able to serve that role that is much needed in the delivery room? Are they better just staying away?
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah.
So they're better staying away, those types.
Stay away, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because then again you add to the anxiety of the lady. And for you, your final remarks?
Anybody who says they ended up divorcing the wife because of being in the delivery room, I think it's an excuse. Whether it was delivery or not, that person had decided to leave. And if you're not ready to walk with the lady during her pregnancy, then you're not ready to unzip your trouser because it is seed you're pouring and not yogurt.
Well,
oh my
thankfully, I have gentlemen in studio who are solid and who have actually lived up to the responsibility that comes with being a dad. The journey of motherhood can be lonely right from when a woman announces that she's expectant, and the role a man plays from the time that she finds out she's expectant is very critical up to the final minute when she delivers her child into this world. So we thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We wish there were more like you. The bulk of messages coming in from guys is that absolutely not. But I certainly hope you've learned something from these three brave gentlemen. DJ Moz, founder Kubamba, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Mwaniki Magaria, who is a TV personality and Secretary General Riverwood, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And of course, Robert Burale, the coach, we thank you so much for your time. We are glad you found time to be with us tonight. Let's do this again next weekend. My name is Lillian Muli. Good night.
Let us see you, Yogurt.